So hooray for Raz, that's one less problem that he has to deal with. And while it might seem on the surface that that problem was pretty easily solved, like, hey, if they had this machine that just can randomly or easily cure the virus, why not use that on all of these monster men that are just roaming around? I think it's because, as they kind of mention, or the Zeus AI mention, as opposed to everybody else that was afflicted with the virus and suffering from it, the Arna virus actually integrated fully with Raz here because he had been surviving for so long, or because he's just got super magical DNA. But it integrated with him, and even though he kind of looked like a monster, that apparently was what they intended the end product to be. So yeah, I think that's why he was able to be saved, and why in the end Millie was able to take the virus out of him. So yeah, it seemed like a quick solution, a bit out of nowhere, but they kind of explained it away. But yeah, we want to make sure and get this Allen wrench that's kind of hidden away on the top of this little shelf here, because as Raz mentions, we can use that to open the grating that we saw in the underground area of the sleeping quarters. Also, I do find it interesting that as they continue to kind of expand upon the AI that is Zeus, sure, he is helpful, but he is also seemingly working only towards the end goal of assisting the military towards their end goal. And I think while he is assisting that shadowy figure, it's less to, help the shadowy figure to his end goal, and more just to, I guess, rile him up and keep this working experiment alive. Part of me wants to say it's a nice little subtle touch, nice little additional, antagonist behind the scenes. So you can get a little bit turned around in here. I think one of the alternate cameras might be a better choice in this area. Even like the first person camera, I think, might make things a little bit easier. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. I think we've gone a little bit too far. And there we go. And while this might seem like a brand new area, this was an area that we've actually been to before. This was where we had to jump over the gap in the broken bridge up there. And it wasn't immediately obvious before while we were up there, but down here, due to some of the damages that have been incurred from the tremors, there is this opening in the wall. And it's not just for decoration. Instead, it allows us access into the final couple of rooms that have been blocked off to us in the sleeping quarters. In fact, there is the door that we saw from, down below. Need to find some way to bridge that gap. Thankfully, the avid-eyed person might notice that as opposed to most of the other rooms, this one has this strange dresser here. And there is nothing inside it, which means that it should be pretty easy for us to move. Emphasis on should be easy, but can be a little bit difficult to line up properly. And, well, let's see what's behind this very dislocated room, I suppose. Seems to be something of a computer nerve center for maybe the entire facility. And there's a whole lot of panels and stuff around the outside of the room, and they might seem all the same, but a couple of them do house items for us. The other one we want to check is right here in the corner. Nice emergency spray. Bit amazed we haven't really had much use for it, but all in all, I think that's because we haven't run into too much combat. Yeah, on the main control panel here, the one thing that we want to take notice of is right here. Because it is a device that allows us to play discs, and we just so happen to have one.
Attention all personnel. Evacuate immediately. Repeat. An earthquake measuring magnitude 8.9 has local epicenter. Aftershocks. All personnel. Emergency procedures now in effect. Cryogenic storage units have been compromised. Infected subjects are no longer secured. Evacuate to main computer room on upper level immediately.
So that's what got us into this mess, an earthquake, and it released those beasts.
We can't just abandon everything. All of our work, our experiments, I refuse to let it all be lost.
Don't worry. Zeus has already evacuated everything essential, but the center must be destroyed to prevent the virus from being released into the environment.
But our subjects!
The subjects, don't make me laugh. I know what you're interested in, that clone. Forget it, she's expendable.
How dare you! She's everything I've worked for. I won't sacrifice her.
For goodness sake, it's not her. It's it. And it isn't worth risking our lives for.
You think of her as just another entry in your logbook. But she's real. Flesh and blood. As real to me as she ever was.
Face it, she's not your Millie. She's just a clone.
This conversation is pointless. The self-destruct mechanism is set for 24 hours, and
I didn't authorize that! You better hope I have time to save her, or you'll pay!
Take it easy. What's done is done.
Never! I won't lose her! Whatever it takes! My Millie!
My Millie? Millie? A clone? Millie, do you realize what he's saying? You're a clone?
It's true.
And your memory?
It wasn't deleted. I remember.
Why didn't you tell me? Why have you put us through all this?
It's not as simple as that. My memory is from before I died.
Before you died? I don't understand.
I remember Millie's life from before. How she worked. How she loved. I don't remember what happened here to me. The last thing I remember was my own death. Her death. Strange, isn't it?
I can't believe it. You're so real.
I am real. I'm just not the same.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to suggest that. It's just that I need to ask you one more question. Who am I?
Let me try to explain.
Huh?
Millie, can you hear me?
Who is that?
Finally, they can hear me.
Answer me. Who's there?
Millie, listen to me carefully. There's no time to explain. The center is going to self-destruct.
I know.
You know? Then hurry. There isn't much time.
I can't leave him.
Have you lost your mind? Leave him.
Don't be afraid. He's safe.
Safe?
I'm telling you, he won't hurt anyone.
Do you think I care about that? I want him dead.
Then I'll die with him.
No. Leave him. You must. You're my...
That wasn't me. That was a different Millie. All I have in common with her is a DNA strand and memories.
What are you saying? Millie, you are my... It's that man. He's twisting your mind.
Your wife is dead. I love this man.
You love me. I made sure of it. By saving...
Forget about him, Raz. We've got to go.
An interesting turn of events.
Shut up!
You were correct. These human emotions have no standardization.
I've got one more chance to bring her back to me.
By force,
If it comes to that,
that is predictable. In fact, it is almost
I love her
certain.
too much to lose her.
However, her feelings...
Shut up! I won't listen to any more of your electro-psychobabble.
So, a whole lot to digest from that cutscene there. Namely, what I find most interesting is this idea of the clones, and the fact that they are not just physical copies, like biological copies of the person, but they also have a storehouse of the memories of that person, and I guess why the military would have preferred clones that don't have a past, because... as we can tell from Millie, having a past kind of makes things a little bit difficult for the human mind to consider. It's basically like, well, I remember being this person, but am I this person? Am I still considered this person? You know, it's this old story of a broom. So let's say you got a great broom, best broom ever. Sweeps like crazy. But as you're sweeping day in, day out, the bristles of the broom end up breaking down, so you replace the bristles. Alright, so the broom is doing great. One day, the handle of the broom breaks, so you now replace the handle. You've now replaced the entire essence and being of the broom. Is it still the original broom? Even though you might consider it the same broom, or what makes it, you know, the broom that was yours? Kind of the same thing, you know, with a copy of a person. Does that make it any less of a person? Does that make them not the same as the original person, even though they could be 100% copy? It's a lot to consider. But yeah, so now that we've had that cutscene, the one door left to us that had been previously locked is now, well, mysteriously unlocked. It could be that that mysterious figure that was trying to get Millie to come to him unlocked it. It could also be, let's say, Zeus continuing to fuck with that shadowy figure and, you know, try to see where this inevitable experiment goes. Yeah, in this very large room, we have a whole bunch of biohazard suits, and they're pretty much all the same. The one that you actually do want to make sure and check is over here in the corner. Because yeah, it's got another clip for our gun that we will use at some point. Other than that, there's really not that much else in this room. Especially not this mysterious box over here. Strangely, nothing in it. But yeah, the game touches upon a whole bunch of different things, like different personalities in AIs, the hazards of cloning. Is it alright to meddle with person's DNA even if it would improve them? Because, hey, maybe some shadowy figures will try to abuse that and use it to their advantage to make mindless super soldiers. There's obviously a whole lot of dangers in progress. It's not always just, sheer benefits, right? While I was rambling on, I managed to stumble into some of the caverns I think we saw previously. And we find a very odd-looking machine down here on this tiny pier. Now, we can't do anything with it currently because there's no power to it. Guess we'll just have to keep on the lookout for a brand new battery. Also making sure to be super careful, because I'm pretty sure you can fall off into the water and just die. But at least for this particular area, things are pretty straightforward. No more trying to search through a bunch of random rooms. There's still a little bit of difficulty. Because, yeah, this fight is actually the hardest one we've got into so far. Just stun locking is not really an option. This guy is a lot more slippery than what we've dealt with before. Yeah. If you are not careful, you're going to be in for a world of hurt. Thankfully, I kind of assumed that was going to go a little bit south, so still want to hold off on using the gun. The gun is going to be much more useful for something later on. Instead, if we possibly can, I want to try to see if we can't wedge this guy into a corner. Definitely worked out. Yeah, I wish I could give some good advice for this. Because sometimes you can interrupt his attack, or its attacks. Other times it doesn't really seem like that's plausible to do. I'd say maybe maneuvering more can work, but it's also tank controls that are very slow, so it's not always a possibility. It's a deadly game of cat and mouse, and Raz comes out on top. After dying, I will admit, I did totally die there. But yeah, we find two more additional little, I think they're called skimmers, and inside number one here, we do find a freshly charged battery. And we should be able to use that for the skimmer that's just kind of sitting outside.
This one looks operational.
Can you fly it?
I can try. Oh no, another tremor.
An aftershock!
Get on, it's now or never.
Are you talking to me? You look like a man I could be a best friend with. Okay, here I come.
Come on with Raz now, hop on my jet ski, grab into my waist, take a ride with me, please.
But what about the hose?
Hey, who needs the hose? Gonna show you how to have a perfect vacation. Gonna sync you up to the island vibration. What do you say?
I'm open to that.
Now get a metal piercing, eyebrows and navel. Make 'em magnetic, no need for painful. Sew in the dreadlocks. Shells on the neck, shells on the wrist. Now string 'em all up, get the shells on the ankle. Underwater camera, disposable camera. Grooving on the beach, jamming coconuts. Get the silly straw from the silly straw hut. Virgin colada, no rum.
Virgin colada.
No rum. Google Red Lobster, make a reservation. Pager will buzz you when you take...
Damn, the battery's going dead. We're going down.
Raz! Up ahead!
We're gonna have to bail out. Get ready.
I'm with you!
Jump! Are you all right?
Oh, yeah. In one piece.
Now, I would say that was wholly unexpected, but considering the end of Dr. Hauser was a bullet hell shooter section in a basement pyramid against an old god, I don't really find that little arcade sequence that terribly strange. Really, it almost reminded me of Echo Knight 2, where we had to do something similar in a little underground riverway. Guess it's just a very popular adventure game setting. Oh, but our obstacles are not done yet. Another dangerous fight. Yet again, slightly more difficult. Very dangerous. Yes, it is taking all of my concentration to whoop this guy's asshole as he whoops my bearded asshole. That was a lot closer than it should have been. But we did it, Millie. We survived the Whitewater Rapids. 3 total enemies, a lot of dangerous platforming. I think we're doing pretty good, all in all.
Millie! Top floor.